When I started teaching in Cambridge, it was as a mathematical logician. The resident mathematical logician was just retiring, a Mr. Steen, very interesting guy. But again, I got trapped. My interest changed again, and I suppose that was when I got interested in group theory. And then I moved from Cambridge to Princeton. I thought I was just giving a colloquium talk in Princeton. And my wife was with me. And as we went into lunch at Prospect House, the chairman of the mathematics department said, "I'd like to talk to you about your future." And I turned around and whispered to my wife, I said, "I think he's going to offer me a job. What do I say?" She said, "Don't say anything. String him along." When he actually did offer me a job, I said no immediately. And he was a bit taken aback and said, "Well, don't say no quite so quickly," he said. "Come along as visiting professor for a year, and we'll ask you again, And so I said, "Yes, okay, as long as I'm not building up any moral obligation or anything." He said, "No, that's understood, So then I came and for that year. And my friend Richard Parker said, "You're not coming back," he said, as I went off. And I said, "Oh, yes, I am. I've no intention of staying in Princeton." Then I discussed it with my wife a lot. We agonized over it for more or less the whole year. And at one time, I had this great idea. I thought, look, as far as I'm concerned, it's 50-50. That's the rational way to settle this.
Is to toss a coin.
To throw a coin, yes. So I had this great idea of having a little party for a few friends and then promising to obey whatever the coin said, before witnesses, before the coin was thrown. And that's that. And my wife said, "Don't you dare do that." She said, if they hear about it, both institutions will be offended. And she was right. In fact, she was more sensible than I was. In fact, any woman is more sensible than I am. And so we didn't have that party. We just went through more agony trying to decide, And then in the end, I decided to stay in Princeton. And by and large, I've been fairly happy here, My unhappiness at various times has been due to the breakup of my marriage with Larissa, more than anything else. Oh, yes, there was something else. I didn't feel I was being used adequately as a teacher.
At Princeton?
At Princeton, yes, for quite some time. In my first few years, I was given sort of peripheral courses, like the development of mathematical concepts and so on, because, I'm fairly interested in mathematical history. But I have tremendous respect for good, solid classical mathematics, linear algebra, analysis, and so on. And I have firm opinions about how it should be taught. Now I regularly teach, some standard courses. But unfortunately, I'm being essentially pushed into retirement, which I don't want to do. I'm going to miss teaching tremendously.